Okay, Shalom. Listen, this lesson is a very good lesson, right? But I didn't even have a busy day. I'm not even going to lie to you. My days have not been that busy lately. I have to start getting back up because I've been devoted to research in the scriptures in these past couple weeks. So I'm not even going to lie, man. I haven't hardly really been working hard at all, to be honest with you. I'm just going to keep it real with you. I gotta get back in my situation next week for sure. But this lesson is an extremely good lesson. Okay, now I want everybody to pay attention to this lesson, and I want to start off by saying I love with all my heart my black women. I mean it. From the United States to the Caribbean, to England, to Germany, to Canada, to Africa, even the black women that reside in Australia. Now, you'd be a damn fool if you live in China, okay? If you live in China, get out of China, okay? I'm telling you that now. If you're a black person and you live in China, and I'm warning you, you better get out of China, okay? There's some other countries you better get out of too. I know, but what about the United States? Well, judgment is coming everywhere, but that's not what this is about. I'm telling y'all, this lesson is very good, and I want y'all to pay careful attention to what I'm about to say. Now, this message is not about women, okay? Not at all. But I have to start it off a specific type of way because I want people to have an understanding of some things, okay? The first thing that I want to bring up is this. I was reading. Now this is of 2019, November of 2019. So it's a little less than 2 years old. But I want everybody to listen to this, okay? It says, "Where did all the men go?" In Philly. So I'm just specifically speaking about Philadelphia in general. Women here in Philadelphia outnumber men by 90,000. 90,000. Now, listen, I'm just accounting for Philly right now. I didn't do the nationwide ratio, okay? Census ratio. I didn't do that, okay? I was rushing to get this message off. And to be honest with you, while I'm making this first message, I'm still not finished. I still have to do the last part to this message. So I'm going to lay out what I got now, and then by then it'll probably be dark. And then I pulled over somewhere because I was in motion. So even when I'm not busy, I still do delivery work. Okay? It doesn't stop with me. So when I'm not busy, I'm still trying to make a little small dollar, whatever or whatnot. Okay? But this is what I want you all to pay careful attention to what I'm about to say. Women, and I'm just speaking about Philadelphia here, so we all know that it's likewise, maybe not this large, but to some extent, 40,000, 50,000, 30,000, 60,000 in some places. Women, black women. Well, this here says women, but we know that Philadelphia is a predominantly black city. So let's say black women outnumber, but see, it's not like that with the Caucasians. The ratio to Caucasians is relatively the same. So if you have 100,000 women, then you have like 99,000 men. That's how close their ratio is. So this would have to be talking about black women mainly. Maybe some Hispanic women are roughed up into this as well, but let's just use our common sense. This is mainly, or predominantly, or primarily talking about or speaking about black women outnumbering black men by 90,000. 90,000. And you got people out here talking about that it is unjust for one man to have multiple wives. That's not what this is about either. That's not what this is about either. Are you telling me that the entire 90,000 women, all of them are wicked? I'm not going to let you tell me that. I'm not going to let you tell me that every one of these 90,000 women are wicked and don't deserve a husband. But us as black folk have gotten far away from our customs. Now, Paul gave advice, exhortation. It's not Torah, it's not the law, but Paul gave advice. He gave exhortation that if you are a leader of a congregation or an assembly, that you should only have one wife. I personally agree with that. I'm agreeing with Paul, but what Paul did was give advice. He gave exhortation. He did not give a command because he is only a man. Okay? Now, many of you women out here are extremely selfish. You want your husband all to yourself, and that's fine. I don't have anything to say about it, neither here nor there. Me personally, my wife is the same way. And I do value that because she has to agree with that. I can't just go and take upon another wife. It would be treachery if she doesn't know about it. So she has to come into agreement. Same thing as Sarah did with Abraham. But to say that this is illegal is absolute falsehood. The problem is that black men are kept at a certain financial status, and that's one of the problems. And then another problem is we have become far away from our customs. Now, that has nothing to do with the lesson. So let me proceed, because none of that has anything to do with the lesson. The punchline is that just in this city alone, and I didn't even do a census ratio on any other city here in the United States, but Philadelphia has the widest gender gap among every state in this country. Philadelphia is widest gender gap among the U.S. major cities. So among the major cities, Philadelphia is number one. And this is almost 2 years ago. Now, lately, there's been a lot of boys being born. And trust me, Satan is paying attention to that. But for the most part, it hasn't changed, but it's probably changed dramatically. This is 2019. It might be 80,000 now, because a lot of boys are being born. But the point is, just under 2 years ago, black and Latino women have outnumbered their men, mainly black. This is mainly black, by 90,000. 90,000 more women than there are men. Now, reasons being, we go to jail and we kill one another. Right? We have problems and issues with one another, and we slaughter one another. Right? That's what we do. Okay? Now, why am I saying this? Because there are more likely that women are going to negate this message than men. Listen, this has been a cycle over and over again for the past 5,500 years. Women are less likely to listen to this message primarily for two reasons. One reason is they find this message simply uninteresting. And another thing is, if I start getting too biblically technical, you women don't understand. So just like the women, pay attention to what I'm about to say. Women like basketball more than they like football, because basketball is a simple sport. Now, to me, a man, football is a simple sport. But, that's us men. We like sports, and we grasp technical things and complicated things relatively quicker than women do anyway. Why? Because we are men. A man is the superior vessel. A lot of women don't like football because they don't understand football. My wife likes football, but she can understand it. She can comprehend it. Whatever women, specifically black and white American women, and these days a lot of Jamaican women, a lot of women from the Caribbean, you don't like what you can't comprehend, and you don't like what you don't understand. Why? Because girls just want to have fun. That's it. So, how is this message doesn't really have anything to do with women, but I'm speaking these things as of right now? I have a reason. Okay? There's always a method to my madness, and I want you all to pay close attention. Now, in an entirety, black women, because remember I told you, the Caucasian ratio, the Arab ratio, the China ratio is not like us. We're the only nation that has this ratio, where our women outweigh us about 3 to 4 to 1. Excuse me, about 3 or 4 to 1. Let me repeat that. We're the only nation where our women outweigh us about 3 or 4 to 1. So 3 or 4 women to every one individual man. Now, this is not about multiple wives or anything. This is not really even about women for that nature. I just want you to pay attention, because there's always a method to my madness. Now, the likelihood of women following the law, statutes, of commandments more than men is very unlikely. Why? Because first of all, not only are men stronger, faster, and more intelligent, but we also are more spiritual by nature, which is the reason why it is easier for a man to drop a drug habit than it is for a woman. Oh, so you don't believe me? Well, if you don't believe me, go ask the white man. Since you black women and men don't want to listen to me, then go ask the scientists. Go ask the white man, and he'll tell you that women are weaker toward drug addiction than men. Men are mentally and more spiritually, or mentally and spiritually more powerful than women. Now, a lot of you women right now, you're going to get upset, and you're going to take ill feelings to this. If you are a woman who is getting upset and you are angry and frustrated about what I'm saying, I'm proving my point, which is the reason why you need to be guided. Okay? Now, let's begin the lesson, shall we? For all of that has been said for a reason. With that being said, I want to go to Zacharias 13 and 4. Let's go to Zacharias 13 and 4. Let me do that with my tablet. I got all my devices in here tonight for this lesson. Zacharias 13 and 4. You got to hear this message all the way to the end. And I'm gonna move through this message because if I don't, it's gonna take a long time. Zechariah chapter 13. We're gonna start at 4. Okay? Now, the Old Testament prophecy about the end times or the end days. So what I'm about to read to you is a prophecy. And for many of you now, once again, if this is corny, S-H-I-T, dumb, S-H-I-T, or nut, S-H-I-T, and it's mainly that to women. It's just true. I'm not trying to downplay my sisters. I love you. But a man will find interest in this before you. Let me repeat that. If this is nut, S-H-I-T, corny, S-H-I-T, boring or dumb, S-H-I-T, then I'm letting you know right now, you can go ahead and leave. I'm not going to force anyone to take the message of God seriously. And when I get to the end of these messages, you will understand why many of you don't take him seriously. Okay? Now, Zechariah, the 13th chapter, and we're just going to start at verse 4, right? Because we're going to get straight to the meat and potatoes. We're going to this is not the meat and potatoes, but we're going to get straight to the point. And it shall come to pass in that day. He's talking, this is a prophecy, and it's referring to today. Okay, right now. Not 100 years from now, because we don't got 100 years. I know what I'm talking about. No, I don't know when. I do not know when. No man knows when. No man knows the day and the hour. I'd be a damn lie if I said I knew when. But I do know this. We're in these days. This is it right here. This is the end. I know it for sure. We're in the end. No doubt about it. Okay? Now, and it shall come to pass in that day, that the prophets shall be ashamed, every one of his vision. When he hath prophesied, neither shall be ashamed of his vision, when he hath prophesied. Neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive. Now, I want to explain that. Just as today, as you have many congregation, camp, and organization leaders, what is one of the main things that they do to gain you all trust? Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with this, but let me explain to you. You go to a church and you see a pastor or a bishop or a reverend, and he has on this long, beautiful robe. This robe is so precious and beautiful, and it may have ornaments on it, and he looks very prestigious. And whatever this man says, specifically to women, see, because it's by your nature that you are at awe of a man in power. Most women love powerful men. Most of you do. You love men that have power. For I know that you've all have went and watched the Chronicles of Riddick, and you saw the very wicked, deceiving woman who was willing to do anything to put her man into power. Okay? Now, it says that it will come to pass So so now this is not talking about women right here, and specifically, but listen to the method to my madness. So it shall come to pass in that day that the prophets, he's talking about the men prophets, shall be ashamed everyone in his vision, when he hath prophesied. So when you have spoken, all of you men today that claim to be men of God, there will come a day that you will be ashamed. Neither shall you wear that rough garment, all that beautiful long robe and that suit with the bow tie, like how some of these other organizations do, and whatever prestige garment that you all wear. There are different prestige garments. For a lot of these rappers that have all of these rappers that have sold their soul, and whatever they say, you all will listen, right? Because they got on the diamonds and the gold and all of these things, right? So apparel, these type of garments come in many ranges. Okay? So you won't, that garment won't mean anything at the throne. And it's not going to mean anything when the crap hit the fan either. Okay? It says, but he shall say, I am no prophet. So you all will be humbled. And you're going to say, well, I am no prophet. Then you're going to say, well, I'm just a husband to my wife, a family man. For no man taught me to keep the cattle from my youth. And one shall say unto him, what are these wounds in thy hands? Then he shall answer, those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. So, a lot of the prophets today, if you are a true prophet, you're going to go through some scars out here among these black people. Black people are going to put hands and feet on us. Now, it's not going to be the worst, because not only will black folk do that to their prophets that have been sent to them, but they also like to send their prophets. I don't want to say that because I don't want to give you black folk any ideas. So, it also says, awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, which saith the Lord of hosts, which saith Yahuwah of armies, smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. And I will turn my hand upon the little ones. The little ones are the called out ones. These are his elite. These are his elect. Okay? The elect is not the entire nation of Israel. I proved that some months ago. Okay? He has an elect within black people. Not all black people are his elect, because not all black people are circumcised of the heart. All of us are Israelites from the outer core, but not all of us are Israelites in the heart. So the shepherds, a lot of you preachers, Christ is saying he's going to smite a lot of you false teachers out there. Right? And then he's going to turn his hand upon his elect. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahuwah, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the 3rd shall be left therein. And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahuwah is my Elohim. Only 1/3 of the black people, from the time of the crucifixion, of the persecution of Christ, only 1/3 of us He's talking about in these last days. Only 1/3 of these people are going to make it. Only 1/3 of us Negroes. And it's actually going to be less than that, because when it gets to the wilderness, when this 1/3 get to the wilderness, it's going to be an even different story. Not even that whole third is going to make it through the wilderness. Why did I say all of this? What was the purpose of me saying all of this? Because black women, Israelite women, outweigh Israelite men 4-1. And 68% of all black people are going to get cut off and die. Do you understand my math? Did everybody understand my math? So, now, you all want to know why I'm saying this, right? Our women outweigh us 4-1. And 68% of us got to go. Which by calculation means that a large percent of that 68 are going to be women. Now, a lot of you Negro men are going to go too, because Christ is sick and tired of y'all. Christ is sick and tired of us as a nation. We're his chosen people, and we can't get it together. Now, am I a perfect person? Not by far. I still have a problem with the infatuation with my black women. Now, I have not been indulging in sexual behavior with women it's been quite a minute now. Okay, it's been some time. I have been faithful to my wife. Okay? But I've had issues in the past. Okay? I am not perfect. Okay? So many of you would say, well, wouldn't that make you part of the 2/3? No. And I'm going to explain why. And to say that I still have an issue with watching women, I still have that issue. Which is why in a lot of cases, if I'm in the public, to be honest with you, I just try not to approach women. Okay? From the United States to the Caribbean, even to our black women in England and Germany, and even many of our sisters over there in the continent of Africa, and first and foremost, my wife. The so-called African Israelite woman is extremely beautiful, extremely lovely. Her body, everything about her. And I've had issues just as other men has had issues. I'm not ashamed of my issues. But I do know that every man must come to repentance. Now, with that being said, I'm going to move on. Well, this lesson is broken down into segments. Okay? And this was the first segment called 2/3. Okay? Now, I'm not done with this first segment yet. I'll be right back.